Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. We are finally back. Last week was supposed to be our let's get back on schedule fully week once again. But, plague. Hey, Dodds. I see you are here with us. Twitch ad is imminent. Really wish I could properly schedule those, but Twitch gonna Twitch. Let's check in with kitties while we're waiting through that ad. We do have, let's see, Sky up in the tree. We have Ember over on the table. Hello, Ember. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mason over on the bed. Actually, no, that's Molly up in the tree. Sky is over by the door on one of the cat carriers. I can't tell where the rest are hiding. I think I see somebody hiding in the play area, actually. Upper left in one of the cardboard dealies. Yep, that's Sherbet. I turned to look and he turned to look at me. So, the table there that is half faux Persian rug, ish. The other half is canvas. It's a generic canvas drop cloth, whether you would use that for kind of arts and crafts as a, surface, or like, painting protection, that kind of thing. I use it because Ember likes the texture. So she will frequently be rolling on that part. She's getting head scratches right now. She's a little sweetheart. We are going to be continuing our play of The Roottrees Are Dead. Now, how to put this? I have probably forgotten a great deal, so we are going to be retreading a great deal of ground here. Investigative game, going to be real chat heavy and real let's stare at notes heavy. So we are on the second portion of the game where we are trying to identify unexpected extended family, let's call it. This being the only one that is an update. This is, we knew about this person. Hey there, Blue Whale. Welcome, welcome. You are joining us right at the start of this stream. We are well into this game. Okay, we identified them. We still need her picture. We know her kids. Pretty sure that that's right, but we need her picture. Just like getting his name. So this was the person in charge of a particular town during a, let's say, less than good regime in a country. He had appointed his wife to run a propaganda radio station, and it seems like when he went into hiding, she changed her name and really hit the ground running with a media empire. Their son here, or the son of her and Guy Hudson, is a news anchor / heartthrob. So then, let's see, Miracle and Mary Beth here. We don't know who Mark Clementine married. We know that he became a pilot and a smuggler and had 2 other children. One of the children is a daughter who he showed up at the graduation, got into a fist fight with the principal of the place and lost hard, to the extent that the principal went viral for the beatdown that he dished out. No idea what child came of this, but this was the last one that we got the last time we played, and this one was tricky. In one of the books, it refers to I think this generation of Roottrees. It's the first or second generation of children, of some of them getting together to mock it was grandparents, to mock them. And one of the things that they mocked was that Gwyneth Anderson here, Gwyneth Roottree, had a lisp, and that it was S's into a TH. And when completely separate of this marker, the mocking, and then later it was overheard, like in a separate anecdote. One of the children over here, on this edge of it, asked their mother who Gwyneth and Elias were talking about, when Gwyneth said, "Who's Beth?" And there were various people that Beth could be, but again, Gwyneth has a noticeable lisp, so it wasn't Beth, it was Bess. And we have a Bess Williams. Hey, Certified, this game is called The Roottrees Are Dead. It's a heavy, detective investigation game where we get a lot of, documents and whatnot, and we have to get the name, last known profession, and a picture of each person locked in. That's what the yellow markers mean, is we have them locked in thing. This is the second half of the game. At the end of each half, you have a series of questions you can ask. Well, I'm a droid, but as far as what is piloting, there is a real person back here. Not canonically, but factually. Hello, Ember. Hello. Much in the same vein, there are real cats on camera. The one snoozing is Molly. Ember has come to join me on my shoulder, so she must get ear pets. So I don't think we have more information on Bess. I feel like we should be able to get more on Mark Crocodile Clementine. So I know we have an incident surrounding him. Let's pull up our notebook too. It's Regina. Anonymom and her case are supposed to not be in the tree, but I feel like there's going to be something that kicks off of that. Yeah. Okay, so Mark Clementine. And Mark, if we go over here, So the whole scandal with this is he is kind of a line of televangelists. And if I recall, she was a singer known for kind of like Christian folk music. The implication of one of them being is that she went to one of his shows, she got pregnant by him, which resulted in one of these two. The other one is adopted. I can't recall which one, but I think it was Mark was adopted. No, I'm sorry, that Mark was the child and that Stuart was adopted. Yeah. So we'll have to figure that out. It's so implicitly, like by implication, the reason that we can say that Stuart was the adopted one, once we locked them in, is that Mark has children on the chart afterwards. They're not on the chart if they're not relevant to the Roottrees family line. So since these children come of this relationship and they're on the list, that means they must be Roottrees, which means he must be the Roottrees. A lot of this game and this stream is will include stream of consciousness. It's me explaining my thought processes. Do not worry about interrupting, asking questions, chatting, anything like that. It is plenty easy for me to stop and talk. Just might take me a moment to notice. No idea who that is. If we could get a picture of her. They only appear in relation to, from what we found, the magazine that had them in the cover in the picture that this comes from, which is a second here. Yeah. Where's our evidence board? Yeah. Which is picture, this picture. There's still one thing we can get out of this picture, or I'm sorry, it's associated with one thing. Because they say their parents often visit. Sistine apple. Well, we know. Yeah. Hello, Sky. Kitties are swarming. Let's see. So we need a picture of their mother. And one exists somewhere. We need to lock in 3 more people. Probably 2 more. Because we have Bess there, I think. If this child and Bess are correct, we need 2 more locked in before we'll get confirmation. So we know these people are supposed to not be in it. Through DNA testing, this person is not a root tree. But that doesn't mean that we don't have something to springboard off of it. It doesn't have intuition associated with it, I think. Yeah. Somewhere in here is another clue. Five P's being a new stage name that Felix Fellows, I think it was David Fellows initially, took on. First he was David Fellows and he called himself Dirty Davy. Then it was Felix Fellows for more consonants in the actual name. But he then later started calling himself Five P's, which is a play on the Five Pieces, the original children of Elias Roottrees. It's technically 6 pieces. But they shunned one of them. So this was... So 5 P's showed up, and while it was initially contested... Let's turn the music down just a bit. It turned out that DNA testing showed he was one of the family members. Then the search for more family members kicks off because anybody who's part of that family essentially becomes rich. There's a whole system that pays them out of the profits of a big company. So having discovered one hitherto unknown family member, interest in it skyrockets. So then another lady comes forward claiming another blood relation. So the implication... and after that one failed, after the DNA test showed that was not true, the interest by the public died down. But because of the way that the payout system works, the family and their legal team has a vested interest in identifying all of the people. Or at least identifying frauds. So again, there's nothing in Anonymom's actual account. It is possible that that account does include a tip. The numbers that you can only partially see. Up there are the number of clues that are still in that. Now, this number only updates once we have the relevant thing locked in, and that only happens when we've got 4 locked in at once. Makes it impractical to guess. So, like, I believe this one... So here's where they mock her about her lisp. And this is multiple instances of them calling out. That includes names. So her husband's name is Elias, so it's Eliath. And then Sam, and she was the one that pushed to get Sam, who is a blood relation, but not from a marriage at the time, a child of an affair. She was the one that pushed to get her included in the family. So that is her talking about Sam and us emphasizing her lisp. But this is where they mention that. This is not where we hear reference to what about Beth, if I recall. We just need to find that. We know who that should be. It's in company records. Okay. This is by Bess Williams. Now, we need to find the what about. It's not company records. So, this is a picture of a magazine that isn't the edition that we would want. Cicely Sanchez had written an article that contained pictures that apparently she did not have the rights to publish, but this is not actual publication. This would be the equivalent of news. So this is threats of lawyers to shut people down. This is a full slap situation. So we want to find out. Reveals Roottrees secrets. There are pictures of Guy in that edition of the magazine. This is the censored edition. So if we could get the real edition, that would be more information, but we'll need to figure that out. Another marker of their cruelty was mocking their youngest sibling, who was born late, born with a lot of physical maladies, and born with one functioning eye. And this is, remember, God only put one eye in Miracle, the name of the child. Pretty bad taste, kids. And they were very much adults at this stage. Okay, where did it mention that? Reminders from the prior game. So this is one of the aspects of the game where you use an old-timey web browser, periodical searches, magazines, that kind of thing, to find more information. By a designer who apparently is her second. She seems unrelated. If it explicitly says it's unrelated, it's unrelated. High school. Now, Ruby Legal Enterprises is one of the interesting things. Is the Ruby listed is, so the head of the company, the head of this legal practice, came from the same place that Felix Fellows did. There and was very active in causes related to, I believe, like the orphanage, to the foster program, in the area that he came from. So one of the possibilities is that she is a root tree and she has inserted herself into their legal entanglements, either to, for good or bad here. Yeah, Ruby Spratt. The lawsuit against Sanchez here is where they kind of showed up. Her books don't do anything for us. Yeah. So there were copies of it that were released, but those copies were pulled from shelves very quickly. But in the time between the suit being filed and them being pulled off of shelves, people snapped it up. It is a 80s, 90s version of the Streisand effect. PixPop is a crude photo editing software that you use at one point to kind of de-scramble a mural that an art student made. Let's see, this should work one way or the other, so maybe... Let's see if I can make this work for the Discord link dots. Processing? Do I still have that wired up? My luck, I don't have it even wired up anymore. Links, not loinks. There we go. Discord link should be in there. Hey, schmuggums. We're doing good. We're doing good. Just checking a couple of buttons here. Ideally, we're back up and running on a regular schedule, schmuggums. We are deplagued and up and running. So that I know. Businesses. So this is mentioning the lawsuit. Yeah. The lawsuit being announced caused that particular issue to sell super fast. Tabloid articles, all the hearsay that's fit to print. We could figure out whose auction it was. If we could contact them, maybe we could get it. Ah, okay. There we go. During your initial search, you came across Thomas Overwood's conspiracy page about the Roottrees. 8 months later, the page still exists and is thriving. The visitor count has reached 7 digits. This is likely due to the popularity of, well, because of Roottree Mania, the public fixation on unknown root trees cropping up. More than one of his theories involve root tree deaths being fake. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have died in a family, the odds are that one of them faked their death. It's just math. Who found focus on death faking seems to coincide with a post mentioning he's begun to believe the guy's not dead theory. In his own words, my eyes have been opened. All of this is beginning to make too much sense. Let's get a note here. You only get so many pages of notes, so sadly, once I think I'm done with notes, I need to get rid of them. But with this game, sometimes you do have to go back and realize that there's something you missed. One of his posts details the belief that Ron Roottree is still in charge, Gwyn Roottree's death was faked, and that Clark is only there to throw people off. Apparently, this allowed Ron to travel to France to develop their new candy recipe in secret. Was Ron? Ron Roottree was a train wreck of a president, if I recall. Oh, no. It was Guy was the train wreck. Ronald was only recently and briefly in charge after the death of Carl, who was kind of one of the successful ones. He was briefly in charge, and then they put Clark Rafferty in charge, and it was there was a period of uncertainty and mixed press releases. Hey there, Tass. Welcome. Okay, so back to the computer. was with the rapper. He can't possibly be a Roottrees. One of his first albums, when he was performing under the Devil's name, actually mentioned that he wanted to have sex with Raina. Raina Roottrees being one of the three sisters, daughters of Carl Roottrees. The author of Six Pieces isn't real. Sam Madsen is an anagram for M. Madness. They're purposely leaving hints for us. Claims that by using the Six Pieces book with Lauren Roottrees' book as a one-time pad, he has begun to decrypt a cipher. Most of the cipher seemed meaningless, but he managed to pick out the words people and vastness. It's hello, Ember. There's also a request at the bottom. Next year, 2000, is a leap year, and Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch the Roottrees red-handed in Operation RT-29. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you've ever drunk Spirit Cola, but doesn't go into why. Don't know. We're going to highlight this so I have a link to this page. So if I recall, Guy is supposed to have died in a car crash. And it really seems like he was probably... Well, so the claim is that another driver was driving erratically and hit his car. There's also the implication that he was leaving one of his exciting parties. And so there's always the rumor that it was kind of his fault. So is it that, and this claim is like he's not really dead, they just faked his death kind of thing. Given the number of illegitimate children he sprinkled around the globe, it would seem, there is also the possibility that you have an assassination plot, not only to get him out of charge of the company, but to also stop his other actions. All of this being conspiracy theory stuff that this is implying. Do we have something new on Operation RT-29? Nope, nothing new there. If the page has changed since its original inception, you have this marker at the top that is show older page. If you have the red marker at the top, that means this page hasn't changed since the first half of the game. Here we go. We have new evidence. Story, according to the website, is that Guy Hudson was a terrible president of the Roottrees Company and introduced multiple failed products. He did indeed. He tried the fanciful flavors campaign that included caviar flavor. The whole hook of the product line was essentially rich people flavors for the poors. So again, flavors like caviar. The whole thing tanked. Most people didn't like them, but there is a country, I think it's in Brazil, where that is a flavor that people like, that became popular over there, and there is a factory that makes a version of, or makes a release of the candy that is just that flavor. It's the only place that flavor gets made, and there are like whole bags of that for sale. That is one of the places that if you look it up in the game, it will say, this is not actually a real place. A game developer named so-and-so wanted to make a place in that, but didn't want to offend anybody that lives in that country. So this is a fake location that's name is a like mashup of these two places. Let's see. The story, according to the website, terrible president. Something needed to be done to put... This is as I speculated. So they killed off guy and replaced him. The next guy was very competent, but died of heart disease, I believe. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight. Again, health issues. And some people even theorize he was Guy Hudson in elaborate disguise. Asking for help. There's a clue in all of this that accidentally leaked in a banned magazine from Piketty. On their page is a scan of the magazine's cover and an interview with Cicely and about Guy Hudson. Excellent. Okay. This is precisely what we wanted. Piketty doesn't label its individual photos. Both of the photos were instead under the shared label. Provided these photos by the Roottrees company. So this is definitely Guy. This is definitely a business-like look exchanged between the two. I have a feeling that the lady there is Sonia, and that's Edson. But we would need to correlate that. So we have a copy of Elias's picture there. We have the maple leaf. The implication here is that this is already just the Roottrees. We don't know who these folks are. Okay, no, that's Zach. Which gives us these two additional pictures of Guy. Okay, and this is an extension of the Piketty magazine one. Paid a significant amount of money to write a book about one of the Roottrees. Guy Hudson. He was president for a short period in the 1970s. I met him on New Year's Eve, actually. The last night of 1978. The guy liked to throw big parties and was coming off... And I was just coming off The Changed Man, one of her books. And looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party, and they cornered me to talk about a book. It was the first time anyone recognized me from my work. I'd finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great. But then none of the stuff that made him interested was allowed to stay. Chop, chop, snip, snip. Anything with even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up gonzo. Was the stuff that made him interesting. At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to two traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottree. And second, he'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. The first thing is he wanted to be great. The second thing was he was never going to be great. Hoth is still a bit aggravated from the sick. He had his fortune and good looks, and he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess. Mr. Rogers? Really? Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottree was boring as all hell and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I'd submitted my first draft and he sent me this garbage book, The Roottree Legacy, with Elias on the cover. Last time he and I met, he had even switched out his orange suits for the same green ones that Elias wore. Yeah. Remember Fancy Flavors? Guy knew that part of Elias's legacy was the 5-piece flavors, so that's what Guy tried to do too. Caviar was a disaster here, but but in Christmas 1979, he went to Brazil to open the Roottrees Brazil factory. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate success. One moment. Which is definitely her, and that is him. Shot in dark. I don't know. Let's see. If this is right, and this is right, and this is right, we need one more confirmation. Either that picture is neither of them, or one of these others is wrong. We shall see. The book never came out. It's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contract my lawyers wrote without running it by anyone in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, but Guy still got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it their time. He was president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family very wisely put a stop to it. Mid-1981, months after I had already moved on, he called me back and showed me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big, shiny, embossed letters. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back. But it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. The dinner was good. Imported steak that likely cost as much as a month of my mortgage. And we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress, Susie something, into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl, I remembered her from our trips overseas. She was too good for him. Okay. Let's actually get a couple of these in here. Up. I think we've already seen that, actually. Yeah, it's a reference to this book here. Which is, essentially, Isn't My Family Great? And get our evidence here. So 9, he went to Brazil to open the factory. This is a reference to that, has got to be a reference to that photo. Okay, this is post-interview. This could be a Susie. His mistress at the time. And these were photos that he had. So this is post-1979 at least. So... Okay. So the implication here is this is a Susie. And that it would be... It wouldn't be from a picture where he's in orange, so it wouldn't be her. Which would probably put that to her. Was the kid spitting up chocolate? Chris. So one of his memories of Guy was being offered a bunch of chocolate at a meeting. Oof, hello. Hey there, human. Thanks for swinging through one way or another. Okay, so that would be... I can't remember. But, so this is Clark in one of... Okay, we should be able to find a Susan who was in the mid-80s in the evidence. So around here. And it was generally, yeah, moved to office staff. Okay, so this is probably Susan Ford, and she was a secretary. That might not be her birth name, though. So let's go back a chunk here. These were all of the expenses per month of Guy trying to develop his fancy flavors. So we can see caviar. Butterscotch is here, which isn't, like, super abnormal. It's Christine Farrow. We're looking for a Susan. So Christine Farrow becomes Christine Garland. This one Guy fully takes over. So no longer. It's Juliet, Daisy, Lisa. Oh, okay. Okay, this is Susan Ford. This is the interpreter. Oh, okay, Okay. We had some more about her. There was more about her. Mary Beth. Grandorf School for the Deaf. Okay. So this is the Hudson Wing. Was built in 1982. And there is a great big expense for this being built. Yeah. $250,000 in 1982 money. Surprise her future husband who is deaf. I think we already relayed into Grandorf Dove, which was, I believe this was like its original name was kind of odd. Miss Hughes. Okay. So this is... Interesting. No, her latest note... Okay. This is Thomas Hughes. She wasn't a secretary last we knew. She is a teacher. Or something. Is there an educator or... was teacher. Grandorf. He was an employee at the time. Principal. It has to be their last known profession. Okay, if this is right, then one of these others that I have is not right. That's got to be correct. This is from the Christmas trip for Roottrees, Brazil. She calls herself Alves now. That seems correct. This one might be wrong. It had to be a picture of an unknown author. So if we look up Bess Williams again. named the nonfiction section after her. So again, folks, this is a real stream of consciousness stream. So I'm going to be saying what I'm thinking a lot, or just reading out loud a little bit to try to get my thoughts rolling on this. We don't want spoilers direct or implicit. But if I'm saying something that doesn't mesh with what you've heard me say or seen in the stream, go ahead and call that out. Or if you have something unrelated to the stream, that's fine, or to the game, that's fine too. Bess Williams. She have another book. Longer exists, multiple libraries. Kings of Cuba. They just throw in some stuff. Okay. Figure out Bess Williams. Like, is this her actual name? Did she do it? What did she do after being an author? Because this is the only thing she's credited with. It says she was an author born in the late 1800s. Surprising it wouldn't be news time. Okay, not shocking. Then we relay to this. Miami Print Museum just gives us, is what ultimately gives us that image. So now defunct weekly newspaper, but is well later than we would care about. I think that's correct. She eventually marries Thomas Hughes. And this is late on. So this is post 1979, I think. In this interview, mid 1981 shows me the draft. So this has got to be pretty late on. It's post 1979, which is when he was in Brazil. Remember this one. Okay. The daughter of his business partner in Australia. Her name was Robin. He and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his family to know about, but I did. So Sam Madsen. Madsen got things wrong. Let's see here. This one. That in Guy Hudson. Roottrees everywhere is, yeah. Lagos, that's Brazil. Australia. Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice, was tapped to run Roottrees. Okay, so we have a Robin Martin. Don't know what she do, so let's look up Charles Martin and Robin Martin here. Australia. Popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. 1979, he helped develop Roottrees Australia. Website about Australian commerce mentions he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottrees company in the U.S. Much like how the Clanstead Trust distributed the profits evenly, the profits of Roottrees Australia would be split 50-50 between the American Roottrees company and Martin himself, for him to do with as he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, but also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially towards the end of his life. Roottrees candy gained a poor reputation in Australia, and sales suffered immensely. passed along to her, who sold both businesses. Oh, wow. Top 100 wealthiest women in the world, owns a private island off the coast of Australia, where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. No husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor in the 70s that she had a medical procedure to ensure she never would have children. You find a joke on a site called Edgy Jokes that implies she's quite promiscuous and has a punchline involving robin's eggs. But it's where she leans into the rumors. In the 80s, she once showed up at a charity function with 3 very attractive men, each wearing a shirt that said simply "satisfied partner" on it. Okay, so in the 70s, there was a rumor about her doing something to say she would never have children. That doesn't mean that she did that, you know? Especially since she leans into it. There's that we have the possibility that that we've got that, like, there was one and she's trying to hide it as a because of that. No? Okay. This could be a red herring situation. Because if she did have a procedure to never have children, then this wouldn't be her. Because if she had that procedure in the mid-70s, his operation in 1979 wouldn't necessarily have been in time for her to have children. I think these 3 are definitely right. But maybe not fully, you know? Okay. Okay, let's see which ones I actually got right out of this. Okay, so we might not have the right name for her. Okay, we don't have the right name for her. So Sonia Alves, that might not be correct. So she married Edson. We are making progress. Piketty, 6 pieces, 1981. Catherine was hired. Interpreter. Have most of that. Still don't know these. Alternate picture of her somewhere. So there's supposed to be something in here, but we don't know yet. Never came out. What did he get wrong? Sam mentions guys' affairs and treats them like most people would logically think to treat them. Like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. When his wife first approaching me though, it wasn't to talk, if you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality it was more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it. The same thing. Was that? I'm assuming I only have to spell it out for you so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I told her I wasn't interested in her and Guy. I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Guy, on the other hand, had been seen in a traditional marriage and at the same time could bed any woman that found him charming. I can assure you that was exactly the type of marriage he was interested in. Be her over there. Okay. Employment record. Mark. Yep, it works out. Again, kind of win-win for both of them. Let's try to relay off the name we have. Sonia Alves. All right. I think there was a marker that was... It's that she tries to stay out of... Spelling it wrong? Is it? It's O-A-R-E-S. Oh, I'm trying to remember what... Let's see if we can find it in my notes. Don't need the Garland notes anymore. Elias. Clementine or Mark. Just a moment. Let's see. Where was that, though? Where was that? Let's see if we... Politician... So if we look up Tellerad, search periodicals there. No. There was a relay that we got to get more about Sonia. But what was it? Oh, a minute. Okay, no, okay, that's not Carolyn. Because that's the Carolyn, that's the CM in the listing here. It's Tristan Robert, which was for this one. No. Roottrees, France. So this is meant to be an indication that nothing came of Roottrees, France. Kept insisting that the best way to celebrate the end of our business contract when he approached my wife about having an affair. Don't think he expected her to say no, and I don't think he thought she would tell me what happened. I punched him in the face and refused to attend another meeting with the man. Okay. Just real quickly. Defunct magazine, defunct tabloid. Just model mentions he's dating him. Yeah, okay. We're back on the relay here. Massive media group owned and run by a mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. This doesn't mean that her maiden name is Alves. She has shortened her name to Nia to stand out. Again, we need her birth name. He received a significant inheritance in 1980 and invested in many manufacturing businesses. She's unmarried. It does not go into any relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear at shareholder meetings and sends a proxy. Okay. I'm going to take this. Come up many times in Business Watch, one of the wealthiest media companies in South America. Nothing in news time. Nia Alves owns many forms of media in Brazil under the umbrella of her company. Mention her names a few times. So this is them calling her Nia. This is what she refers to herself as. Lack of freedom of speech laws in Brazil, added bureaucracy in publishing some stories. Supposedly once used her connections to have a reporter fired from a rival network and blacklisted. Not there. It's only in Business Watch. There are other networks that we could relay off of. Okay. Can we do We're going to put Nia here. Again, it's Sonia something else. But we would need to relay into that. So there is definitely at least one child that comes of this. A former student. Destruction came weeks after he married the newest teacher, who is now the principal. Married her after he had graduated. Let's try Susan Hughes. This would have been her name at the time. Do I miss? Oh, nope. Nope. Hugs. So it is full word completion, word search. So it has to appear as is written. It can appear in the middle of a word, but aside from capitalization, it has to look that way. So at this time, she was a teacher. There's got to be some more relays off of something for that, but I don't know just yet. Aha. This didn't click. Her name is actually Sonia, and I think Alves is correct. Which, that could be her. But why would they be like that? Let's keep... We'll see. Be her because she's red-haired. Back down here. So I wonder here. Show me a final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? Be in his effects or something if we were to find that. But I don't think that would help us either because it's a sanitized version. Back to the evidence page. What else can we relay off of? So we've ID'd all of these. We're good with this one. There's still a couple of pictures to ID in this one. Apparently, there is still evidence in here somewhere. And he edited the book heavily, that he tried to keep a good image. See. She said she had people on him during all of his trips. Actually, I had people on him when he went to Australia, France, and China, too. So this could be correct, but it might not be Alves. Like, this might have been true. Unclear. And Robin Martin may be a red herring. We have Indolent Noble listed somewhere. No, okay, we're going to just put CEO there. What can we find out about Crocodile here? What evidence do we have that gives us a clue? Still a couple there. Farm. This is the restaurant there. Okay. Yeah, this is a further listing of who's best. Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" Because he overheard someone yelling that name. So this was either Elias or Gwyneth yelling a name. This is one of the red herrings. There was an Elizabeth. I believe there's a Beth listed in some of the stuff, but Gwyneth has a lisp, so it's Bess. Parties. Some of the stuff that we have might be because it relays. Like it'll just give us a new clue. It's Mary Beth. Telegraph is credited as having given him his nickname. Let's see. Some details about his first major arrest. Says he was doing a animal smuggling run and a crocodile bit his leg. He tried to tell them he was a crop duster who somehow cut his leg on a loose piece of metal. But the story seemed very odd and the controllers quickly alerted the police. San Diego for violating his parole to visit his daughter's graduation. The Billy Sims incident. Principle of Sandstone. 15 minutes of fame in 1994 when he was punched by Crocodile Clementine at a graduation ceremony. Pretty much every news organization from trustworthy to tabloid seems to have their own take on the altercation. About Piketty. They're not afraid to publish a few details that more reputable news publications normally wouldn't. So this is on the Billy Sims incident. Billy Sims was once arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail at a company that was found to be testing their products on animals. According to police paperwork, Crocodile Clementine's bail was paid for by... Is that Toasterito? That looks like the kind of name that would be on a box of pizza bagels or something. Piketty interviewed other students that were at the event to find out if anyone knew anything. The word going around was that he showed up because his daughter Mary was graduating that night. Okay. Toasterito Jacobson. Fuegos Fiesta, a regional Mexican fast food chain, held a competition in 1993 that offered free meals for anyone for life to anyone that legally changed their name to Toasterito. Toasterito was a burrito with a cylindrical tostada shell inside the flour tortilla. That's kind of cool, actually. A few sources. Toasterito Jacobson used to be named Lucinda. Uh-huh. That does sound very Taco Bell for a, Mexican fast food chain. Named Fuegos Fiesta already has a bit of that vibe. A burrito with an interior housing of a cylindrical tostada shell. Okay, Lucinda Jacobson. What can we do with that? Butler County. Okay, here's this is 8 months old. A Crime Blotter article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions Helen Roottree and Lucinda Jacobson. Okay, so I believe this is the reference to somebody got in and revealed that Miracle was, a sham. So we have Edith Jacobson that, if I recall, is referenced up here. Yeah, he marries Edith. We are going to put Lucinda Jacobson here. Oh, there isn't, though. About Lucinda Clementine. Indeed, Ishan. I run 2 different streams on YouTube. You have found the tall format. There's also wide format. Search here, no. Just verifying there. It's the crime report. So love. He gets up on stage. And the principal, sir, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem. At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker punched him in the face. Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "All right, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." The viral moment. Lemon tried to throw another punch, but Sims anticipated it and performed a maneuver that spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with a backwards somersault. About just Sandstone Canyon. Wonder if we can... No such luck. Oh, okay. We have a Mary Clementine. Look there. Because there are 2 children here, unfortunately. She would not be terribly old, which probably puts her here. So we're since it's 2000 and this was like... It's not a certainty. I mean, she could be married by now, but it was her high school graduation, so that probably puts her at college age. Could be Jacobson. But we don't know. It was fairly expensive. Now, Lucinda here might just be that they know him. Because we don't have a Lucinda here. Now there's a Lucy. Just for giggles. Okay. Wow. So we could have a Lucy Jacobson here. We even have Jacobson. We don't. Okay. This could be again, a red herring scenario. Because they are divorced. This could be after he became Crocodile Clementine. Animals. All right. Let's go back to our page here and try to relay off some of the stuff that still has tips. We have two things in here. Edward Morrison, Robert Andrews are hired. Morrison works for 1 year. And Lewis is hired and then leaves immediately. So Susan Ford leaves the interpreter office and is moved to office staff. And a year after that, we see the donation to the Grandorf here. And then shortly after, she leaves the company after Guy's death. Hey there, Key. Welcome back. Wonder if this could actually be his secretary at the time. Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you. Put you here, and I'm going to say that this Actually. So these two could be similar here. Okay, so I'm going to say this, that it wouldn't lock in. It would only lock in 4 of them. Wouldn't it? Because this didn't lock in. I'm going to put you here, you there. Susan Ford and Thomas Hughes had at least one child. So at least one of them is a child of Guy. It's potentially A. So the question being, let's look at our evidence. This photo here. So this is at a Christmas party. This is the politician in Brazil at the time. That is a distinguishing mark. That is a rose tattoo. Okay. Right hand. Right there. Okay, yeah, that is her. Her. Subtle. I mean, look at that. You have this little kind of 6-leaf flower kind of thing right on the back of her hand. It is well shadowed here, but distinct if you're looking at that spot. And then in this one, right here, you can see that same tattoo. But it's right on the edge and almost hidden by her cuff. Because this was the mistress at the time that happened after the Christmas party in Brazil. This is potentially the business person out of Australia. So if we go back to our root tree everywhere, all the way down to Australia. France broke down because they got upset. Multiple textile factories. All right, we're going to go through the root tree China group here. We are going to split this off as well. Going to reorder a bunch of these and dump them into these different categories based on what? California. True supporters. Corruption. We'll cull some more of those. Caviar. Tried to burn it down. Worker strikes. Air. China. Okay. Very accomplished. The site has quotes from many different reporters and news articles, nearly every language. Also mentioned quite often on websites about Chinese businesses. Those mentions are company-focused and not people-focused, and not very useful. Rudimentary leadership timeline with names that prove that the company has been in the Lang family for a long time. Kind of looks like a family tree goes back 250 years or in some form or another. We'll absolutely butcher these Chinese names. Both in that I have no hope of actual Chinese pronunciation, and there are going to be some of the letters that I would be guessing at as far as relevant pronunciation of that letter outside of English. He's only mentioned as just like a footnote. Let's see. The current CEO is a woman named Shen Yu. Few American logos on its site. One is the Roottrees logo, another is Tranquilts, and the third is Piece of Asia. Play on Tranquil and Quilts. The name is ironic considering they're the loudest quilts you've ever seen. The main quilt featured on their website is a flaming unicorn soaring through space with peace symbols around it. I mean, I guess as a quilt, it's kind of questionable, but it's a poster that would definitely exist. Or cloth. American arm of LinkTree, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to their site, the The Tai in Lang Tai translates to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of companies listed here, too many to investigate, as very few of them have any relevance. It seems Piece of Asia is nearly as accomplished as Lang Tai. For fabrics and cloth at wholesale prices, you don't spot anything out of the ordinary. I wonder if they're associated with Root, the clothing company. Okay. There we go. Recently listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article entitled Empowered is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. Article states that due to her lack of brothers, she was a younger sister, Lang Xinyu took over as CEO of her family's company in 1992 after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit. Due to mental deterioration, I wish more people were quick to help a person move on once they are very publicly shown to be suffering from mental deterioration. Get them into a situation more suited to their circumstance. This was apparently extremely controversial amongst the company's employees, and some of them, the article doesn't state how many, quit and wrote a letter stating that she must have coerced him in his vulnerable state. What else can we find out about her? Nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. So this has got to be her. Well, the article roughly... The board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. Someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. Could have another red herring. Early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. But did she really? Was it really IVF? Can we get a picture of her kid? Okay, let's see if we can find her in some of the periodicals. Business Watch. Separately brings up Fewer Than LinkTree. Featured in 1992. She missed out on Watchman of the Year, but did have a pretty sizable article that mentions some of her history. First of two children. '30s when she had her and had trouble conceiving a second time until 3 years later. Began training. Let's see. His father stayed the president for a very long time, and his daughters grew up. He began training them in hopes that one of them would have a son to take over. One helped him in China, the other in the U.S. Neither were given any official titles. So this is the one listed in the U.S. business, the sister. He died due to the societal dynamics. The business passed to his male sibling, a younger brother. Many in the know knew that this could be a problem. His brother, Sinu's uncle, was not a businessman and was not much younger than his brother. During this time, she essentially ran the company as his consultant. Began having problems related to dementia, and she, who had already been running things behind the scenes, performed somewhat of a power play. She stopped working until the results of her absence began to cause problems. Only then did they admit they needed her. That is a okay bet kind of moment. Okay. So what was another possibility for this? Since we got her picture, it's very likely it was her. Okay, we are going to take that, and we are also going to look in Business Watch. Okay, just being sure. Copy that. Nothing in Business Watch. It's in Pittsburgh. Jerry, Linda, and Mark Hahn appear recently on a website called Focus on Philanthropy under the headline, Hangin' with the Hans. Hans were chosen because they donate significantly to causes that further Chinese American culture. Jerry and Linda were both born in China and fell in love during college. Father led a large company. The article never names it. After it expanded to the U.S., Linda's father approved of their marriage so long as Jerry took over the U.S. portion of the business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is like something out of an Alanis Morissette, and how ironic it all ended up. I was absolutely terrified to move to the U.S., but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall, and was obsessed with Robert Redford. But somehow Jerry and I were the ones sent here, and now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. We had Mark. We never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China. She doesn't even like visiting the U.S. anymore. I bet Mark Hahn is has red hair. Kids are completely opposite, though. Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad, and as soon as he was old enough. He's actually in business school in China, working with my sister. Our niece, who grew up there, was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school and flew out there as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Okay. Okay, that's the same one. If only we had a picture. It's only in the base one. Jay, it's going pretty well. We're getting there. There's still like most of this wing to go. I think we've got a lock on this part. I thought this was right, but the name might still be squirrely. Because this is generally supposed to be birth name. She calls herself Nia Alves, but we don't know what her actual name is. She was Sonia Edson, or Soares, while married there. We don't know who Susan Ford's kids are. We only know that Thomas Hughes had an inkling that one of the kids was from Guy. We found her other picture because of her tattoo. That was kind of cool. We have a Mary Clementine who's probably college age at this point. That I believe is one of Mark's daughter. But there is another child listed here. We don't know a spouse. And aside from the existence of Bess Williams as an affair with Elias, we don't have anything further here. It's a whole fiasco down here. What I'm hoping is to find an additional picture. My general impression is that this company, LinkTree, is one of the ones that is... It says they supply textiles and things like bulk fabric. I'm guessing that it's an association that eventually came through with Root. But on we go. So I'd like to find pictures that include... I think it's Mark Hahn at this point. Okay, no, this is still... These three appeared on a website called this. Yep, a big thing with the photos is subtle clues, Bennett, and those pictures, and using them to infer more stuff. Exactly a common name, but it's not the most uncommon one. Mentioned on a robotics website as part of Team Talon Claw. 2 teams from the US participating in a new robot-based show in the UK. Small women's a cappella group in LA called The Gin and Tonics. Works in New York for a business called, get this one, Corporate Synergetic Solutions Unlimited. That is the most we don't actually do anything company name. Okay, how about Team Tallonclaw? Onyx Club of Mideastern Uni. Okay, we could relay this into the little newspaper of Mideastern. A robot named Tallonclaw has been selected for appearance on the second season of a British television show focused on robot fighting. I think it was Robot Wars. That was one of the original robot battle ones. There was a UK one. They had a giant flamethrower T-Rex that they used as like a relatively ineffectual mid-boss. Text-only site you can find linked from the university students section. The site seems like it's mostly to announce the schedule to its members. Let me just... I was supposed to meet every Tuesday and Thursday, but the last 8 dates have all been cancelled because a few members of the team are currently in the UK filming. Another date from the few weeks ago was cancelled for an interview with the school newspaper. Supporting members Lucy Lang and Kurt Hauser. Okay, let's take Team Tallonclaw. Let's take it into periodicals, and we'll do... Where is it? The Herald. Aha! Grew up in China as Min Lang, but when she came to the U.S., specifically to attend university. Obsessed with smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as the mechanism that closes Tallonclaw's weapon. Linguistics, one of her hobbies since coming to the States, has been collecting accents. In her spare time, she practiced not only removing any traces of her native inflection, but also quickly switching between multiple different regional accents. She feels her personal best is the Southern Belle, but her favorite is the Valley Girl due to its use in popular culture. Wow. Yeah, this is very much the kind of thing that you would have seen in the earlier UK one. The early American robot battle one very quickly shifted to kind of wedges and rollers as far as optimization. Now, the others caught up with that, and you would still see these all over the place. But the actually has a weapon and is big and bulky was a thing for a bit. This is the type that would be lifted up by a wedge, flipped over almost instantly. I really think these are cooler. If you're going to have a giant fighting robot, it should be brutal. None of this efficiency nonsense. Okay, Min Lang. She is in college. Okay. We need at least one more, probably two. Any other... This might hint at ones. Okay, no. So we have another kid directly out of, like, Elias early on. Because it would have been around the time of this one during these early publications. So I have potentially 2 children here. One of them, I feel like, is at least one will have been named Hughes. We have 2 children out of this particular relationship. We have his spouse. We have a Mary. And it was during her high school graduation that he punched out, or I'm sorry, was wrecked by the principal that he tried to punch out. So she would definitely be at least college age by now. Probably still college age. It's in San Diego still. This is, what is it? Mid-Eastern University. Maine and Miami. Fairly extensive computer science and robotics. Yep. Big chunky key sounds in this. Wouldn't be there. We don't know that it's Mary Clementine either. Sadly, we don't have, like, newspaper articles to get an ID on her. Trains went nowhere. How can we ID her children? Yes. Susan was an employee of Roottrees at around the time, I believe. Yeah. Once it opened, she left the company, she left Roottrees and became a teacher there. So this is after 82. So sometime in 8081, she learns sign language from the main school before the wing is built. The wing is built in 82. And shortly after, Thomas Hughes defaces the place, and some of that includes accusations related to the affair between Susan and Guy. Mr. Hughes was convinced that he was not the father of Mrs. Hughes' current pregnancy, which would have been like very late in the pregnancy. The implication here is that one is from Guy, one is from Thomas, based on the double lines here. We don't know which. This relays back into the school. Let me just take Hudson Wing and go here. Nation, yep. She's the current principal. It's a very quick situation here. It's the implication being that so before the wing was built, she potentially during the period that she was an interpreter, very likely during the period between from interpreter to office staff. We have later, at the later end of it, we have a pregnancy from Guy. Or at least that is the implication. But we also have a pregnancy that is likely from Thomas. So from that interpreter up through, or even from office staff up through, we have 2 pregnancies to account for. But we need a picture of her. I'm sorry, we need a picture of her family. This is on Grandorf Dove. Used to be in Butler County. Oh, located about an hour from where they used to be in Butler County. Then when we look up Hudson Wing, we get more of this. It was built in 1982, and that is going to be so in 80 through at the start of 80, she is no longer in translation as an interpreter. She is in office staff up through 80. I'm sorry, into 80 through 81. Then, where is it? In 82, she's no longer employed there. 82 is when the Hudson Wing is built. So, probably during 81, when she is office staff, the implication is that's probably when she was pregnant with a child from Guy. And then prior to that, she would have probably had a child with her husband. Could be inverted there. It could be that she moved to office staff during the period when she essentially had blackmail on Guy Hudson. This is where we got the Piketty one. We have 2 kids out of this. We have uncertainty about her picture. We know nothing over here. I feel like we've got these. So if we could come up with anything for these 2. Originally Susan Ford is then Susan Hughes. With an H. Neither name comes up. So we have Thomas Hughes, who should show up in the article about him defacing the property. Hello, Molly. Hello. She has drifted down to temporarily grace me with her presence. So 1982, around the period when this is built. Where else could Hudson Wing show up? Such luck. Such luck. Piketty is a good place to look for scandal stuff, since it's a tabloid rag. This one being one of those very embarrassing coincidence kind of things, is the implication being that, he wrote a song that included "I find this celebrity is hot" in it before he knew that that celebrity was his cousin. Let's... It's worth a try. Are you going to sit with me this time, Molly? Huh? Molly needs some attention. Isn't that right, huh? She says, yes, I need to sit here and build up static. It's a very normal flow of events. I mean, you don't know who the person is. Really, there's somebody in the public eye, so you write a very explicit rap song that includes references to them. Yes, Molly is in front of the camera, isn't she? Just how you do. All right, let's just do Guy Hudson here. I feel we'll already have, yeah. There you go. There you go. Do anything there. How about... we have anything... Anonymom, the Anonicon. Worked as a manager at a department store in North Carolina, and her daughter's name was Courtney May. They also said that the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify news time, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named Corrine S., and that she had filed for bankruptcy. Article speculates that Anonymom and Corrine were in on it together, and even speculate they may have been lovers. Piketty is not a credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seem to notice or care. Okay, so do we have anybody late in... Is it? Corrine S. Corrine Schwartz. So let's just put these in here yet. again, this story is supposed to be false. Or I'm sorry, is not supposed to lead anywhere. But that only means that the specific story that they had, that it was Anonymom's daughter that was the person. But the person that vouched for the story, that's different. Now, Kareen here might just be... Oh. The articles from local news stations in Pennsylvania. Some of the people attempting to track down Anonymom were harassing her. She recently had to take a leave of absence because people showed up at the car dealership where she worked. She's begging people to stop accusations so that she can get back to a normal life. In every article you find, the journalists involved have independently identified that she is not Anonymom. This implies that it's Beatrice Watts is Anonymom. So I believe it was they were both hired at the same time. And if the corroborator was Kareen Schwartz, then by implication. Now, again, it could be that Kareen is a person that had that story, or it's just the two of them heard about the affairs. Nothing in Pickety, and it's only stuff in Pennsylvania. Appears she lives beyond the Butler County limits. Named in a national tabloid, people have come to her place of work. It's impossible for her to be Anonymom because her only child is still in middle school. Unless her son's gestation period was approximately 10 years, it doesn't appear like Kareen could have been involved in any of the potential affairs in your tree. This is again, you can chase down other things in this. It does not mean they're relevant. We could figure out either of Susan's kids. All right, what do we got? What do we got? There is still information here. But, again, there's a good chance that that is because of Susan Ford. Gwyneth Madsen and Cattrall, those are related to Sam Madsen there. Seinfeld into Emily Barnes. So we have the Grandorf Dove donation, the fact that she goes from being an interpreter to being part of the office staff. I think that's what we can get from here. There's still something in notable events that is relevant. I don't know what we're supposed to get out of this part. Wouldn't be the first time. So this is our... Elizabeth had a daughter who worked for as one of Guy's secretaries. This is over in this territory. Elias cheating on Gwyneth, yes. How we would relay from Elias into... So, like, Elias there. No, wasn't that Elias Clark, or was it Clark Elias? Something like that. One of the two. The child that was shunned when they found out he was gay. A confirmed bachelor. So there's something on this page and on the next page. So we have one of the pictures that we can kind of put in order based on the suit he was wearing, which is... when she first submitted the book. So 1978, post 1978. It's after he bounced her first draft. He switches to green suits, which is in ones like this. Prior to this, he's in orange suits. To give himself the veneer of more of the family fame and dignity. New side, actually. This is a potential relay into Roottrees, Brazil, if you haven't gotten there already. This might be referring to finishing up the data about Sonia. feel like we should be able to find this book. This, I think, is a red herring. Again, we have an indication that Robin was... Robin removed the option of having kids before she hooked up with Guy. And has been very public about promiscuity without any progeny since then. This helps us identify Susan, which we have done. This interests me, though. Wouldn't have been published under her name, though. Sanchez. Go through... So she came off of that. Sanchez. She does nonfiction, so that wouldn't line up. What else could we look into? There's got to be a way to springboard off of Susan Ford further. And there has to be a way to get further with Elias's affair with Bess. Alves. Nothing in the tabloid. Anything I'm missing in this article here? Because Alves could just be an assumed name. It is now a third name. We don't know her maiden name. Alves does seem related to Elvalagos. Which would again imply let's relay back through these. So Alves does strike me as a pseudonym here. She doesn't even like to call herself Sonia. Else might be Flavio is based on his picture. Might we be able to relay into? It specifically calls out there's a Christmas tree to line it up with the idea of this being at a 1979 Christmas party. We'll still need to find more than just what we have in order to relay out, though. Data we're not seeing. Lots of consumed holiday traditions out there. Assimilation is easier when everything is was actually yours all along. You just looked at it wrong. Or you didn't have the right flag. Reference to Susan Ford. Can't claim this land, it's ours. Well, I have this flag. Well, that doesn't matter. Do you have a flag? Because this flag says this place is mine. I don't see your flag anywhere. $1979, that helps us. It's just here. Just this remaining one with 2 clues off of it. College fraternity level conflict there, Jay. Very 80s, 90s movie shenanigans. Ideally with a lot less highly questionable content. Susan Ford's no longer an interpreter, and move to office staff are critical elements. Where does her marriage to Thomas come in? Because this region would be a big win for us. So would more about Mark Clementine. I have no idea how to relay more out of Bess. Sherbet has always liked Sky, but Sky is much more social than Sherbet is. And that means some of the places that Sky will go, Sherbet won't. So we have... two children that come of this, I think. I think that's what this is saying. This one being adopted. Hangly. We've already relayed off of a tabloid that eventually got us Mary Clementine. Go back up to Mark. So Lucinda Jacobson is sister of, was Edith or something like that, who is the wife of Miracle Jr. And between the two of them, now this could be coincidence of name, but Lucinda Jacobson also doesn't show up in our list, so they're not that. But these were folks that were involved in exposing Miracle Jr. Makes sense. It was his daughter Mary. Is there anything we can do to get like a roster or... infamy list, which just relays into this again. It's in San Diego by this time. Come here. Well, come here. Come on, you nuisance. Sometimes he'll just kind of stand over top of the mouse and like look at me like, well, I wouldn't mind chin scratches, or I could sit on your lap, or I could just kind of stand at this halfway point that is really disruptive to mouse use. There you go. I think there would be some sort of relay into the tabloid more likely for it, but that's like his public fame is much more associated with getting wrecked by Billy Sims. Okay, did a small piece about the fight between Sims and Crocodile, but tried to approach it from a different perspective. Goal was to paint a picture of the two men involved from others who knew them best. All right, come on. Colleen Webb, Mark's ex-wife. Nice. Section with Colleen. She and he met when he worked for an airline. She worked in an airport newsstand. He was a drinker and would have wild mood swings. So let's get this before I forget to. Okay, that's another person. Charged with assault of a fellow pilot. This was the pilot of the plane that he got drunk and entered when he wasn't supposed to be on that plane that day. Time she was pregnant with their second daughter, and she felt she needed to get out of there before things got worse. Their sister told her oldest that her dad had to fly planes for the army. She raised both by herself. This explains why the altercation at graduation is he probably, given his behavior, he probably has a restraining order. Okay, it's Webb. Oh, she raised them both by herself. Although she never went through the trouble of changing their names legally, they called themselves Webb. Okay. So let's look up Colleen Webb next. About... Aha! It's a website called Web on the Web. Apparently it's a personal travel diary that doubles as an advertisement for her travel agency. She is a travel agent. Descriptions of the services, including booking flights and cruises. Them involve extremely niche audiences. #1 agent when it comes to booking spiritual vacations aboard ghost ships and in specific hotel rooms that are said to be haunted. Section for cruises that cater to specific groups, such as fans of boy bands. Trip she's personally taken. Professional photographer she knows. Okay. Paranormal travel agency. Corporate composition photography. Okay. So I think this is... I'm going to keep Clementine here. She did not get listed as having a family of any kind. Let's relay off of the photo. Photography studio that was listed in different sites for businesses in San Diego. Professional quality photos for businesses of all sorts. Also mentioned on a photography site with some IRC chat logs. Well, that's a bit of a... perhaps a throwback or an anachronism for some folks. That is also one of the reasons that it is really easy to make things like integrations into like video games and various things for Twitch as opposed to YouTube. Twitch chat is a constant IRC feed, and it is independent of any individual stream. So you can just chat in a Twitch channel. And anything that's listening for that will see any messages that come in. Just they happen. It's like a web event. YouTube is not that. There are entire libraries that people have written to attempt to ease the difficulties of integrating with YouTube. Val, former head photographer from Corporate Composition Photography, did a QA with their users about taking pictures for promotional materials and print ads. Mostly pretty technical. Not only seem irrelevant, but go over your head. Val was on the cover of Telephoto and asked about Iraq. The question was quickly shut down by the person running the Q&A, who said Val does not wish to answer any questions from his photojournalism days, nor does he wish to talk about LBP. Okay. Bloop. Try here. Let's go back here. LBPB in correlation. Let's try just composite here. Nope. Okay, let's just look up this. No. This person. Okay. Just for giggles. The way I think, some of the stuff that you hear me like muttering and whatnot is part of the way that I think. So there's a lot of pseudo rubber duck happening as I'm just doing stuff. It's not the same thing, but it kind of serves a similar purpose, is whether the dialogue is in my head or it's out loud like I'm talking to the stream in Similar J, is kind of the same result. Is you force yourself to discuss it, and then by doing that you might realize that it doesn't sound right. It doesn't work the way you thought. Okay, how about... Okay, it's separate. It's that it mentions that they were on the cover. They ask about Iraq. So Val was a photographer in Iraq, and there is mention of LBP. Please keep the subject of on commercial photography. We could get something about who Val would be. What about just taking a wild stab here? No. Nope. Nope. What else we got? What else we got? Wouldn't be in telephoto. What? Which one of these? Fortunately, it seems like it's located in Ireland and its owner's name is Nicholas. Okay, okay. Like a solid lead, as it mentions Val, an award-winning photographer. Business in Beacon, New York, and on the site it has a picture of a baby and a camera captioned with Cam Lincoln reaching for his namesake. Guess he takes after his father, Val. They had 2 daughters. So this will be a daughter. This is Val something. Which do we have? Okay. So then we look at here. Now, Lincoln. This is another Clementine. And that will get us here. Photographer mentor. All right. Operation Desert Saber. This is a Lisa. Do we have Soldier? I don't know. I didn't check to see if it... Let's continue with the article. It might tell me. For surgery and took the picture. Val Lincoln, Lisa Clementine. We don't know what she do, but we know that what she looked like. Same here. So if we can complete this, we might have a win here. Oh. Baby. How many Roottrees dodged a draft? A non-trivial number of the ones in the upper tree. Haha, give me more evidence.
Hey there, it's us. So I just have to say, the work you're doing here is fantastic.
So fantastic, in fact.
Then we'd like you to stop and not talk to us anymore.
There goes Clark. Always the bad cop. Go ahead.
Well, our law firm, Ruby Legal Enterprises, is having trouble keeping up. They're actually begging us to stop submitting new Roottrees. They said it's getting difficult to verify your progress.
Well, consider that a good thing. I told Clark you'd get results.
This, again, Ruby Spratt. We're not submitting so many new Roottrees that it would be a problem for them. Because none of these people, like, this isn't a real active public eye sort of thing. If we find out the names of these people and hand it to them, they can operate at their own speed. So why suddenly that, oh, we're getting a lot of results, and they're like, maybe slow down a bit.
She says that like I didn't believe her. Regardless, the bad news is it's gonna take 5 potential tree additions before anyone locks in from now on.
Oof.
Good luck.
And keep up the good work.
Big oof. I think that's a good stopping point for the night. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Good times, though. Good times, though. We have made progress. We have made much progress. Most of what we've got, we've still got, there's still a few on the right that we don't have, but it's mostly going to be work on the left. But we are in the home stretch here. We've got about 10 to go. Yeah. So there's still a lot more root trees to go, but we do also have a lot more of these detective games on deck. We will be getting back to coding soon enough. I think we've made enough headway that we're probably going to be able to jump into the basic room flow. Gonna set aside the collision detection again for now and just get the idea of load the room. Do something, load room, do something, load room. That architecture should be enough. Again, we're going to start with more of a structure akin to like Metal Slug, a shoot 'em up, anything like that, where it is Contra but more complex. Where it is largely move from left to right, and either periodically or at the end you will have an opportunity to pick a path. This is going to be akin to your roguelike navigation stuff. But instead of presenting like a whole tree, we're just going to be presenting which route do you want to take. So you'll have an immediate choice, but the ramifications of it aren't like revealed to you as a whole. You might get some hints, but not all of it. That's the plan for now, though. We will see. We are going to be shooting for, again, tomorrow and Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday. That is the goal. That is where I want to get to, and if we manage to stick that with regularity, we will be putting out a schedule again that, barring any sort of emergency, we would be able to put up each week. We want to get back there. Anywho, thanks for joining us, everybody. I hope you had a good time. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment. All those buttons are generally good things down there, and you should press them. If you would like to consider financially supporting the channel, you can do so through platform-specific means, memberships, bits, all of that kind of stuff, as well as other options that can be found through the link tree that can be found in my bio and in video descriptions. With all that said, I hope you have a good rest of your night, and I will see you next time.